scenario that theoretically played out here was a crude oil train being pulled by BNSF locomotive that had derailed and crashed into a natural gas pipeline. And as you can see around us, this is the Stevens County, Minnesota Fairgrounds. So part of the scenario is having different victims here. And so a lot of different agencies across the state that are involved in this. The victims will be going to the hospital. They also brought in the Minnesota Emergency Medical Team that'll be taking the overflow victims. They're going to stage an evacuation of the hospital. The university here in town is going to go into their emergency mode. So a lot of coordination between all these groups in response to this. CHS has a vested interest in community safety because we bring products into these communities that could be hazardous, could pose risk. So we want to learn as much as we can from these scenarios. And a perfect example actually here, real life, the emergency manager for Stevens County, her husband is an employee at our elevator just straight up the tracks here. And so we have a lot of employee engagement too. Most of our volunteer fire departments a lot of times are made up of community members, many times which are employees.
It's a big coordination that goes on. You get your agencies involved and everything happens. Kind of realistic timeline.
A lot of planning and prep work, getting your communication in between different agencies and groups around the area to get everything coordinated the way it needs to be. If you're not thinking about something, it'll come to light in these scenarios so you can better accommodate for them if an actual emergency were to happen like this.
I'd say you're a little surprised by some things, but most of the time you take the positive things away from it and learn from it.
When I managed for CHS out in Falkton, South Dakota, FEMA came in and there we staged an anhydrous ammonia release. And that was actually a very useful exercise to go through in our community because we did learn going through the drill that we did have some weaknesses. But at the end when we came back, did what we call the hot wash, which is the recap, lots of good conversation. And I mean, you could just see it looking at all those first responders, looking at their faces, you could tell, hey, if this happens again for real, we're gonna be so much better prepared. And so I think these are really good exercises. These are good drills to be doing because there's a lot to be learned from it. And this is the time to work out the kinks, not in a real emergency. And so obviously practice is a very important thing, just in case.